It is double A playoff time here in our MLB the Show 23 draft only franchise in season 1, made the playoffs, going to be going against the Mississippi Braves, and because double A only has one playoff series, this is the championship series. Whether or not we promote to triple A after just 1 year will be decided right here in this episode. And win or lose will also be including the stats and awards, as well as even the offseason in this episode. With a draft-only franchise, there's not really much to do in the offseason. It's really just sign your UDFA class, and there's nothing really else to do, so not enough to make a full episode out of it. So that will be at the end of this episode, but how we're going to attack this championship series is going to be, I'm going to simulate the first 6 innings of the first few games until we get to an elimination game. If the games are close, we'll hop into them prior to that for the last 3 innings. But then whenever the elimination game is, we will watch that for sure. 2-run homer there will give us a 3-1 lead. And it looks like our offense is heating up here in the middle innings. Now a 6-1 lead for us. At this rate, we might not need to hop in at all. A 7th run and a grand slam there from Cal McIntyre. And then a 3-run homer for Mississippi to try to make things a bit more respectable here. But leading 13-4, I don't see the need to hop into these last 2 innings. Or 3 innings, excuse me. Now up to a 9-point leads. So offense carried hard in this first matchup against the Braves. We come out with a very resounding victory. I imagine Cal McIntyre with that grand slam will be the player of the game. But this is the kind of offense that we're certainly capable of. Probably more power than usual in this game, but just stringing together a bunch of hits to put us in a position to get a grand slam is kind of what this offense is all about. 14 runs, 16 hits. That's the kind of offense that definitely brought us to this championship, and so hopefully it's the offense that can bring us to the victory. I would love to promote to AAA after just season 1. For those who maybe joined the series after the first episode, the format that I explained in episode 1 of how we're going to do this is that I will be basically treating the AA team as my main team until we win the championship, which could be this episode, then going to AAA, doing the same thing, and then going until we win a World Series at the MLB level. That is kind of the format of this series, excuse me. So if we can accomplish the first goal of that after just 1 season, that's great, you know. I also think we're kind of already the best AA team out there as we tie the game up there. Nicely done by the bottom of our order. But with the game tied, 3 innings left, I think that's a good time to hop on in and see this game play out. Juan Moreno will be pitching for us here in the 7th. Bottom of the zone. This one's lifted out to Cal McIntyre, the MVP of Game 1. Sad to have a grand slam happen and not actually see it, but I'll take a grand slam however I can get it here. That's a nice throw on the move by Melvin, but not quick enough. So that will be a single there from the 9-hitter. Order flips over for Vernon, and he's also going to get on base with the full count pitch. So that'll put a man in scoring position. Can Mississippi take the lead here? We're going to load the bases. So Juan Moreno got the first 2 outs, then just starting together some pretty awful stuff. So Edmundo Pinero will be brought in to get that 3rd out. Lifted into shallow second. Benito Vasquez easily makes the play. So we're able to get out of the jam. Definitely looked for a minute there like Mississippi was going to be taking the lead there, top of the 7th. Now Kevin Sandoval up to the plate. This one's lifted to right, but doesn't quite have enough on it to hit the gap. So now 2 outs here, bottom of the 7th. That will bring up Leandro Velasquez, 0 for 3 thus far in this one. Gets a nice pitch to hit over the middle, but can't get the contact he wants on it. So a scoreless 7th will keep things tied here. Now in the 8th, Edmundo Pinero would remain in. His, pitch windup and throw is like really quick. His throwing motion, I kind of like it, as Jason Gill will range over into left field. Really like his fielding abilities for us long term. He's got above average speed and fielding above most left fielders, you'd have to say. Jeff Melvin will make the accurate throw to get us out of the 8th cleanly. Now it's up to this offense, starting with the bottom of our order. Can they string together some hits? We saw them do so very effectively in Game 1, but haven't been able to have quite as much success here in the second game. But Jeff Melvin with 1 out gets on base. So could this be the start of an 8th inning rally? I certainly hope so. Chad Pollock 0 for 3 in this game. That one's well hit right down center field. Will drop just in front of the outfielder there. And now we've got a man in scoring position, bringing up Blake Boyer. 1 for 3 so far. 1-0 pitch coming. That one's right over the middle, and he smokes it into right field. That one's going to hit down and should be easily extra bases. Going to score 1. Going to score a second as well, as he'll get a 2-run triple. Now, he hits in the 9th spot because his base hitting stats aren't very good, but one thing about Blake Boyer is his clutch is really high. And if you didn't know this, in MLB the Show 23, when there's a runner in scoring position, your contact is replaced by your clutch. And so he becomes a much better hitter when there is a runner in scoring position ahead of him, as seen right there. And so Dylan Dodd would come in to try to finish off the 8th without allowing any more damage. Carl McIntyre. This one is swung on outside of the zone, but it beans the pitcher. And he's going to be safe with that elite speed. And it's also going to score another run. Dodd looks to be shaking it off and should remain in the game. A man on first now for Alden Evans. He has 1 hit so far in this game. And he hits lefties quite well. That one's a diving play over at center. Can't make the play. And with Carl McIntyre's speed, he will score an RBI double. And this is the kind of rally that this team is certainly capable of. We have so many good hitters in this lineup. Kevin Sandoval has been surprisingly one of our better ones throughout the season, but lately in the episodes he hasn't quite shown up. He's been more kind of playing to his attributes, I would say, but overall in the season he's been really, really good. Santiago Chavez would lift this one out, just 3 outs away from securing a 2-0 series lead against the Braves. Full count now for Ethan Workinger. He swings and misses at the fastball inside. Tim Blanton just needs 1 more out here, and we can come away victorious. And he's going to get that out. Slider gets him chasing, and the Barons will pick up the 6-2 victory. Just 1 win away from promotion. Now Benito Vasquez faking out Melvin there. You like to see it. But took care of business at home. Now we got to go on the road and close this series out. But I really like what I've seen from the offense this far. Like I said, the offense is what's got us to this point in the season, so it's nice to see the offense also showing up in these games when it matters the most. 11 hits, so double-digit hits in both games thus far. Let's see if we can continue that streak for a third straight time, as this time we'll be watching the entire game, as this could be the final game of the season and of our time here in Double A. But the Braves, they're now at home, and so they got home field to protect, and can they do it? We'll be facing lefty Nick Bennett. I have been struggling to speak today, but Carl McIntyre will get this one fair out in right field. Beautifully struck to start off the game. Lefty does not matter for Carl. He gets a leadoff double. That one was just popped off his bat right there into right field. He's probably been our best player here in the playoffs. Jason Gill, that one's right down the middle, a little bit low though, and he can't find the gap, but he will advance Carl McIntyre, so any sort of base hit should bring Carl McIntyre across, and we've got Alden Evans, who is an absolute beast hitting lefties. He's got a full count, and he can't quite check the swing there on the high fastball, so he will be called out. Brings up Kevin Sandoval. He's hitting 300 so far in these playoffs. Those hits definitely were coming in the first game when kind of everyone was popping off. This time he's going to draw a walk. Can't bring across McIntyre, but he can extend the inning, getting Nick Bennett's pitch count into the 20s here in the first, which you like to see. Leandro Vasquez, can he bring across Carl McIntyre? Not this time around. He's going to single out. And so we will go down without scoring any runs, but definitely, I think, still a successful inning, running up that pitch count. John May is going to get his man chasing on the curveball in the dirt. 3-1 pitch coming up to Josh Van Meter. He's been hitting quite well. He's hitting 444 prior to that hit, so what is he hitting, 500 now probably? Bryson Horn also hitting 444 in these playoffs thus far. So the 3 and the 4 hitters coming out clutch. Almost an error there by Melvin, but Benito Vasquez saves it. And so the Braves, much like we did, will go down without scoring any runs. So the score will remain tied here in the second, and another strikeout on the high fastball. Their 2-2 pitch coming up for Jeff Melvin, and another strikeout on the high fastball. Our team is not handling that pitch very well. Nick Bennett is destroying us with that pitch right now. Chad Pollock would come up with an 0-1 pitch after that. This one's hit fair down that third base line. He's going for 2. The throw is good and in time, and they will tag him out. Don't mind the aggression there early on in this game, especially trying to get in scoring position with 2 outs. But very nice throw there. We'll retire him. 2-2 pitch lifted into foul territory. Blake Boyer ranging back was kind of the catalyst to start that 8th inning rally last game out. Plays third base against lefties for us. And John May's going to get Workinger looking there. That was, a pretty hittable pitch. It wasn't like right down the middle or anything, so I'm surprised no swing there. 0-2 for Corey Acton, and he went around. So John May racking up a bit of the strikeouts here, his 3rd through 2 innings. Blake Boyer, he's hitting 500 here in these playoffs. He's actually probably the... Oh my goodness! We get robbed of a hit there. I've got to see this one again. I thought for sure that was hitting down. Goodness, 100 route efficiency. 69 feet, nice. But as I was saying, I think Blake Boyer probably over Carl McIntyre, you got to think, is our postseason MVP. But both have been really good, hitting one right after the other. And Nick Bennett continues to rack up those strikeouts at the top of the zone with that fastball. We have not been able to adjust to that. Jason Gill up next would be retired easily, so a 3rd scoreless inning for us. Offense not quite showing out in this game as much as it has in others. Boyer can't field it cleanly. there, and so a single on the bunt. Congratulations, you dingus. Hope you feel good about yourself bunting on the first here. Bottom of the third. Alden Evans ranges over for that one. Pretty well struck, but not well enough by Isola. And that's where you see the bad arm of Alden Evans coming out. Don't really want somebody with a bad arm in right field, but that's just kind of where we're at right now with the team. And that's going to be a 4-6-3 double play to get out of the third. Whatever that little celebration is, but I got to see that one again, of course. Double plays are always worth a second look. Vasquez to Melvin, over to Pollock, and that will be the first third of this game gone without any scoring. Sandoval, that's a nice hit, but we get sniped of a hit again. You got to be kidding me, man. Why can't we have plays like this? I mean, I'll tell you the answer. Most of our fielders aren't actually that good at fielding. We have a couple of good fielding players on our team. But we'll go down quietly once again in the fourth. Can't get anything going. I thought for sure Kevin Sandoval was going to get at least a single out of that hit. But Drew Campbell hits this one. Benito Vasquez will flash the glove. Not quite as impressive as these Braves defensive plays, but I'll take what I can get from our defense. That's one of the weaknesses. That's one of the lowest rated things we are in AA is defense. Really, you know, we're the best in contact. We're up there in speed. Pitching is good as well, but our defense is not there. Neither is our power. This one will go straight back to May, and he will get the out. So in a little bit of a pitcher's duel through 4 innings, Nick Bennett here will get Jeff Melvin out on the single, except he won't, as the error will go out of play, and so the out becomes a man in scoring position for Pollock. He looks at another fastball top of the zone, man. Nick Bennett has been destroying us with that pitch. We just cannot seem to recognize it at all. Blake Boyer, 3-2 pitch. He gets a hold of this one once again. That clutch rating coming into play as he will bring across the first run of this ball game. No longer in danger of a scoreless game. Blake Boyer, at least in terms of what we've watched, you've got to say he's our postseason MVP. Carl McIntyre, 1 for 2 so far in this game. Gets the 2-0 pitch here. Won't be able to extend the inning any longer, but we get the first run across the board courtesy of Blake Boyer. John May done a nice job keeping his pitch count low as, well, Benito Vasquez made a beautiful diving play, but then couldn't make the throw. So on the awesome effort, he'll get charged with an error. Nice job by Kevin Sandoval to be out there to make that play, though. John May is going to get Acton swinging there for his 5th strikeout here in 5 innings. Bringing up Geraldo Quintero, 2 outs, a man on first. This one is jammed and hit into foul territory where Blake Boyer makes the easy play. Alden Evans up now, 83 pitches on the day for Nick Bennett, and he's swinging at, you guessed it, the fastball high. He has 7 strikeouts. I'm pretty sure they're all on high fastballs. Kevin Sandoval, hey, he goes looking, but it wasn't a high fastball. It was a fastball outside. Goodness. 3-0 for John May here. He is going to allow his first walk of the day with 2 outs. Now a man on first for Mississippi. 1 for 2 for Josh Van Meter, but he lifts this one to Sandoval, so the pop out will end the 6th. Looking to expand on our lead now as Leandro Velasquez will walk, as Mississippi will change pitchers here in the 7th. Vasquez trying to swipe a bag and does so very easily. Little contest on that one. And so now we've got a nice chance to bring him home. Jeff Melvin, 0 for 2 on the day. The curveball way outside has got him swinging. That's some nasty stuff there. Chad Pollock. He gets a hittable pitch. That one just past the glove of second base. Thought we were going to get sniped again, but instead he extends our lead. Now 2-0, and with the way we're pitching, I kind of feel good about this 2-run lead. Of course, I'd love to continue to expand it, but Braves would change pitcher again here in the 7th. Couldn't quite get even a full inning out of their pitcher, but we'll go down just the very next at-bat. So 2 more hits. Both of us have an error. And we've got 2 more runs. John May, beautiful strikeout there. Bottom of the zone. Now 2 outs here in the 7th. Sharply hit on the ground to Benito Vasquez. He is retired. So 7 complete innings out of John May. An absolutely awesome performance from him. And with Mississippi still having 0 runs on the board, I wonder if we'll be in for an 8th here as Jason Gill is going to reach with a 1-out single there right down that second base line. 3-1 now for Sandoval, though, would end our inning. He continues to struggle here in the last few episodes, but he's not struggling in simulation, so that's what really matters. John May would come down here in the bottom of the 8th and get another strikeout. 1-0 pitch now to Geraldo Quintero, lifted. That one's going to bloop down right in front of Carl McIntyre. And so I think that will end the day for John May. I wouldn't mind keeping him in, as the game would actually keep him in. And this has potential for a double play. 5, 4, 3, just in time. Double play. 8 now. Complete innings, shutout innings from John May. He has been awesome. Easily so far the MVP of this game. Probably our best pitch performance we've seen this season. Full count here for Jeff Melvin, 2 outs. Last chance to kind of extend the lead here, but he can't do it. He'll go down swinging. So now all comes down to a 9th. We would bring in Ezra Rodriguez. Wouldn't have minded seeing us at least attempt a complete game from John May, but this is a game where we could potentially win the AA championship. I don't mind also the more safe routes here of bringing in our closer, as he will acquire the first out. Just 2 more needed. Drew Campbell has not had a hit yet in this game. This one to Melvin. He doesn't have the strongest arm, and thus they will get on base. Now the tying run at the plate. Full count pitch. This one's lifted into short outfield, and Jeff Melvin will lunge over to make the play. So now just 1 more out needed. Bryson Horn, can he extend the season for Mississippi? Doesn't look like he can. Jason Gill makes the play, and the Birmingham Barons are your AA champions. Here in year 1, we have officially promoted to AAA. Next season, we'll be with the Charlotte Knights. Did not take long for us to accomplish our first phase of this series, but it's also by far the easiest phase. Still, you gotta give credit to these guys. All drafted in the last few seasons or signed as undrafted free agents. Winning a championship at any really professional level this early in has got to be something to be very proud of. I think we've assembled quite a good roster. We kind of play similar to like the Moneyball Athletics, where we're all contact and getting on base, honestly. It's funny that I'm doing an athletics franchise and this team plays more Moneyball than they do. But I think I've already said that before. So the Barons will win the championship. We'll promote to AAA. Like I said, very exciting season, and I think showing a lot of promise. I think we have long-term players at several spots And let's just go ahead and take a look. Before the playoffs started, I took a snippet of the season-long stats, and so let's take a look at those now. Alvin Evans led the team in at-bats. He kind of alternated between right field and DH most of the year and just didn't need to take many days off. He would also lead us in hits because of that. No surprise there. Leandro Velasquez would get 21 homers. He was kind of our best source of power and really one of our only sources of power this year. But Kevin Sandoval, yes, he's got some power, and so I guess home runs isn't the biggest surprise, but he led or was in the top part of the team in many, offensive stats, which is just super surprising to me. Allen Evans hit 316, got 2 guys over 300. Blake Boyer ended the season over 300. That's really nice to see. But Kevin Sandoval hitting 281, I think is probably even more impressive to me. On base percentage, Alvin Evans really good there. Slugging, Andrew Velasquez first, Kevin Sandoval second. No surprise there. 3 guys hit over 800 OPS. And Alvin Evans would lead us in walks. Chad Pollock struck out the most. Kevin Sandoval would be third there. Second base, or doubles, we would get quite a few there. And then Chad Pollock actually led us in triples with Carl McIntyre right behind him and Alden Evans as well. Stolen base percentage, Kurt Nicholson was actually 100%. That's funny. Our backup catcher, Kevin Sandoval, would lead us in WAR. And now I kind of want to see how their ratings increased. Went down in stealing, but went up a lot in a lot of his hitting stats, as he should be. And he will be our surprise player of the year. I just think he was hitting at the bottom of our lineup, and I expected him to be either the worst hitter or at least one of the 3 worst hitters in our lineup this year. He was not that at all. He was awesome. Earlier in the season, he did really well in the episodes themselves. Kind of tailored off at the end, but he was really, really incredible. Carl McIntyre now here. He went up pretty decently, about an average of 3 in all of his hitting stats, and really just kind of all across the board. He would be second place in WAR. Our 2 first-round picks leading us in WAR is something that you like to see. Alden Evans, just an absolute contact monster. Vision, discipline, clutch, all there. Durability as well. Leandro Velasquez would increase his contact but decrease his power. It's just kind of because he's already at his potential, so you're not going to see too many increases there. But he was really solid for us this year. Probably not going to be, a high impact player once we get to the MLB level, but in AA and AAA both, I just imagine he's going to be one of our better players to get us through these first 2 phases of this series. Elvis Rivas backing up Carl McIntyre when he was injured, here and there throughout the season was really good. Jason Gill, I would have loved to see what he could have done with a full season. He had that big injury that was out for 2 months in, I think, our second episode of the season. So episode 3, that would be. Marty Dempsey, really good against righties, really bad against lefties. That's now even more pronounced after this year. Probably not much of a long-term player, but there you have it. Blake Boyer, very much so a project, but we saw the promise here. And just like I said, his clutch rating being so high above his contact just really helps him out whenever he has a chance to hit with somebody in scoring position. And then Chad Pollock, honestly, he did pretty well in these games that we would come in. I felt like in the episodes he was actually performing well. He just wasn't the best in simulation. Switching now to the pitchers, Buster Pringle pitched 193 innings, led us by 15 in that area. Walked the most, but he just also pitched a lot more innings than everybody. Had the most strikeouts as well. And going through this roster, I was really trying to find somebody that I could pin to be the disappointment of the year. And I just, honestly, I couldn't do it. And so I'm going to make a new rule in relation to the surprise and disappointment of the year that we've been doing recently. If your team wins the championship, which this year we did, you don't have to have a disappointment of the year, so there will be no disappointment. In fact, we will have a second surprise of the year. And so I will be announcing that player here shortly, but Buster Pringle led us in quality starts, had 2 complete games, and they were both shutouts. All of our complete games were shutouts. Ezra Rodriguez would blow 7 saves, but he would have a bunch. So yeah, I'm not worried about his 7 blown saves. But in terms of WAR, Buster Pringle would lead us by 1.2 WAR, so he will be our surprise player of the year. Yes, he was supposed to be our best pitcher, but he was actually really, really, really good this year. And just getting somebody with C potential to at least be like a low B, I feel like he's worth that. John May was also really solid for us this year, 357, 135 whip, and was second in WAR. You could argue maybe him just because he was so much worse and he still played really well, but his potential doesn't really need to go up by 3 if we're being honest. Miguel Polanco was solid for us. Daniel Driver throws the hardest of any player on the team, but that will change once we bring in Domingo Acevedo, or at least they'll probably throw at least the equal amounts as hard. Diego Moya, not Montoya, pretty good, but would like to see some better developments from him. Edward Rodriguez, one of our best overall pitchers at the moment, doesn't have the highest ceiling, but was our closer this year. His ratings went up a decent amount. And so Buster Pringle and Kevin Sandoval will both be getting +3 potential for winning our 2 Surprise Player of the Year awards. And really for Buster Pringle, it was less surprise player and just player of the year. But for Kevin Sandoval, it's definitely surprise. Let's go ahead and see where our players ranked in terms of the AA. And you can see why we won the championship. We had 4 of the top 5 batting averages in all of the Southern League. And that's what carried us, really. Kevin Sandoval being among those, again, is super surprising to me, and that's why he wins Super Surprise of the Year. So hits, we had 3 of the top 4 and 4 of the top 6. At-bats, Alden Evans had more at-bats than anybody in the Southern League. Doubles, Alden Evans would come in second. Triples, we had first and second place, as well as tied for third. So just the speed, the contact, the on-base percentage, it showed up for us all throughout the year and really carried us to this AAA promotion after just 1 season. We had 3 of the top 4 players in terms of runs as well. Stolen bases, holy moly, we are all up there. We do have a lot of people with high steal ratings, though, if we're being fair. Like, if we look at the other players that are, like, 85 steal is good there, but 46 steal, you know, we have a lot of the guys with the highest steal ratings in the Southern League. Walks, Alden Evans would lead there as well, so he was awesome, but that's kind of what I expected from him, honestly. Like, contact, getting on base, he was supposed to be kind of the best in the league at that. Buster Pringle would lead the Southern League in wins and losses. I guess Daniel Driver just didn't get credited for a bunch of losses, so he leads there. There's got to be like a minimum amount of games, though, to qualify for that, right? I'm sure there is. But saves, Ezra Rodriguez with 40 would be in second place. ERA, Buster Pringle led all of the Southern League. And so, yeah, I think he deserves that +3 potential, even though it was maybe less surprising and more just like he was really, really good. And so he should probably have the opportunity to improve a little bit throughout the rest of his career. Buster Pringle would be in second place with his 2 shutouts. He would also lead the Southern League in strikeouts. And so, all across the board, you're seeing us, you know, towards the top, and really everything except for home runs, really, which is kind of where we struggled. Is home runs and fielding are the things that we really need to work on. I think Alberto Rincon coming in, I'm very excited for him to play first base for us next year. That will do it. But now switching base to the off season. Now this will be our UDFA class. Pretty small this year. Didn't find a lot of guys that I loved. Juan Lima, kind of our best guy, 69 overall with C potential. Let's go ahead and take a first look at some guys that I have altered some of their looks a little bit. Alberto Rincon was said on the draft episode that he kind of has an Albert Pujols player archetype, and so we're giving him number 5 as a nod to that. But Alberto, he kind of likes to be flashy and kind of stand out among the rest of his peers, and so he's going to have a pink sleeve and a pink glove to do that. We're also going to update Carl McIntyre here. I realized that he had just like generic shoes, and so I wanted to change that. Domingo Acevedo here, or Esteban Acevedo, excuse me. He'll be looking like this. I did give him the number 1. It looks like that's just taken, so I think at some point in the series he will be wearing number 1 though. And then Kevin Sandoval just updating his stuff to fit the gold of the Charlotte Knights rather than the red of the Barons. So just a slight update to his look. And then to kind of end off this episode, we're just going to see where all of the big players signed throughout the league. Vladimir Guerrero going to the Padres. Of course, just signed him in our Athletics franchise. Dustin May here to the Angels. Mullins to the Mariners. Bellinger will be going to the Washington Nationals. And then let's just see how many players we have at the top of the prospects list. We got a couple of top 10 guys there. Boyer makes an appearance. Floyd Sable, one of the pitchers we selected, makes an appearance as well. Sandoval, Ordonez. So a lot of this last year's draft class. Carl McIntyre comes in at 38. A lot of prospects here in the top 50. But that's all I've got for this episode. I'll see you next season in AAA, and I will see you then.